The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's sky without warning. It hung above the planet like a dark cloud, blocking the sun in some places. The ship belonged to the Zorlian Empire, the most powerful force in the galaxy. Billions of people looked up in fear as smaller ships flew down from the massive vessel. One of these ships landed on the White House lawn. Secret Service agents and military personnel surrounded it with weapons ready. The ship's door opened slowly, and out walked Admiral Grakthor. He stood 7 feet tall with blue skin that sparkled like diamonds. 4 armed Zorlian warriors followed him. "Take me to your leaders," he said in perfect English. His voice sounded like metal grinding against stone. Within an hour, the world's most important leaders gathered in the White House emergency bunker. President Diane Powell sat at the head of the table, her face showing no fear despite the situation. "You have 48 hours to surrender your planet to the Zorlian Empire," Admiral Grakthor announced. "If you refuse, we will destroy your major cities, one by one until you change your mind." "What if we fight back?" asked General Henry Baker, his hand instinctively touching the gun at his side. Admiral Grakthor laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. "Your weapons cannot harm our ships. We have conquered 37 planets in the last Earth decade alone. None could stand against us." As if to prove his point, one of the Zorlian ships fired a beam of energy at an empty area in the Atlantic Ocean. On the screens around the room, everyone watched as the water boiled, and a column of steam rose miles into the sky. "That was at 10% power," the Admiral said. "Imagine what would happen to New York or Beijing." President Powell kept her voice steady. "We need time to discuss this with all world leaders." "Hours," Admiral Grakthor repeated, then turned and left. After the aliens departed, the room erupted in panic. "We need to strike now," shouted General Baker. "Use everything we have." "And get millions killed?" argued Secretary of State Frank Thompson. "Our most powerful missiles would be like throwing rocks at them." "What about negotiation?" suggested Vice President Lisa Gordon. "Maybe they'll accept some kind of arrangement where we keep some independence." For 3 hours they argued. Meanwhile, reports came in from around the world. People were panicking. Some had already started looting. Others were praying in the streets. The stock market had crashed completely. During a brief break, Dr. Alan Morris, the quiet head of the Advanced Research Division, approached President Powell. "Ma'am, I might have an idea," he said softly. "I'm all ears, Alan," she replied, rubbing her tired eyes. "We intercepted some communications between their ships. Their technology is amazing, but they have a weakness. They're terrible at maintenance. Their machines are always breaking down." "How does that help us?" asked President Powell. "They're overconfident. They don't check their systems as often as they should. If someone could get onto their main ship and sabotage their engines in just the right way, infiltrate an alien spaceship, that's your plan?" The president sounded skeptical. "Not just anyone," Dr. Morris said. He took out a tablet and pulled up a personnel file. "We need her." On the screen was a photo of a woman in her mid-30s with dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her expression was intense, focused. The name under the photo read, Olivia Martinez, Chief Engineer, Mars Orbital Station. "She's the best mechanical engineer we have. She understands machines in a way no one else does, almost like she can talk to them." "One woman against an alien empire?" President Powell asked. "This isn't a movie, Alan." "With respect, ma'am, what choice do we have? Look at her record." The president read through Olivia's file. Born in Detroit, parents were both auto mechanics. Joined the military at 18. Quickly moved to the engineering corps. Multiple commendations for fixing equipment under impossible conditions. 3 disciplinary actions for insubordination and fighting. She punched her commanding officer? President Powell raised an eyebrow. After he ignored her warnings about a faulty reactor, Dr. Morris explained. She was right, of course. She's always right about machines. The president kept reading. Olivia had once fixed a failing life support system on the Mars station using parts from a coffee machine and exercise equipment. Another time, she had rebuilt a damaged shuttle engine during a dust storm while wearing a spacesuit with a cracked visor. "She's talented, but she sounds like a loose cannon," the president said. "She's passionate," Dr. Morris corrected. "And, right now we need someone who won't give up no matter what." President Powell looked at the clock. Only 44 hours left before the aliens' deadline. "Get her here, now." 12 hours later, Olivia Martinez walked into the White House bunker. She wore stained work clothes and heavy boots. A large wrench hung from her belt. Her lucky wrench, as it was known among her colleagues. She had carried it through every tough job for the past 15 years. "You dragged me all the way from Mars for this?" she asked after they explained the situation. "You want me to sneak onto an alien spaceship and break it?" "Not break it," Dr. Morris said quickly. "Sabotage it strategically. Create a system failure that will disable their weapons without destroying the ship." "That's the same thing," Olivia said with a shrug. "But how am I supposed to get on board?" They showed her the plan. A small stealth ship, originally designed for orbital repairs, had been modified to avoid detection. It would approach the alien flagship during a scheduled patrol change they had identified through observation. "This is insane," Olivia said, looking at the blueprints. "We know nothing about their technology." "We have some data." Dr. Morris pushed a tablet toward her. "Our satellites captured these images of their engine rooms when their bay doors were open." Olivia's eyes widened as she studied the images. "These designs, they're not that different from our quantum containment systems, just way more advanced." Her fingers moved across the screen, zooming in on different parts. "But look at these connections. They're inefficient. And this cooling system is barely keeping up." For the first time, a spark of interest showed in her eyes. "Can you do it?" President Powell asked directly. Olivia looked up, her expression serious. "Their technology is generations ahead of ours. I'd be going in blind with minimal information." "But?" the president prompted. "But," Olivia said, a small smile forming. "I love a challenge, and nobody builds something that I can't take apart." She patted the wrench at her side. "Me and Betty here have fixed worse messes." "Betty?" General Baker asked, looking at the wrench. "Named after my grandmother. She could fix anything too." Olivia's face grew serious again. "I'll need a good AI assistant programmed with everything we know about their technology and some way to communicate back to Earth." "Done," Dr. Morris said immediately. "If I'm going to die on an alien ship, I want good coffee first," Olivia added. "The real stuff, not that instant garbage." Despite everything, President Powell smiled. "I think we can arrange that." As the others began discussing details, Olivia stood to the side, studying the alien ship images. Her mind was already taking apart their systems, finding weaknesses, imagining solutions. She didn't know if she would succeed or even survive. But one thing was certain: those aliens had no idea what was coming for them. 24 hours before the aliens' deadline, Olivia sat inside the small stealth ship. The craft was barely bigger than a car, painted black with special materials that absorbed radar and other detection methods. On the outside, it looked like a piece of space junk, one of thousands floating around Earth after the aliens destroyed several satellites during their arrival. "Pre-flight check complete," said a male voice from the computer on Olivia's wrist. "All systems functional." "Thanks, Kevin," Olivia replied. The AI assistant had been programmed with all available information about alien technology and given a voice and personality to make communication easier. "The launch window opens in 3 minutes," Kevin continued. "Based on alien patrol patterns, we'll have approximately 20 seconds to approach undetected." Olivia gripped her lucky wrench tightly. She had modified it with alien technology they'd recovered from a small probe. The wrench now contained specialized tools that might work on alien machinery. "Remind me why I agreed to this suicide mission," she muttered. "Because you're the only person on Earth who might be able to sabotage an alien engine without blowing up the whole ship," Kevin replied cheerfully. "Right." Olivia took a deep breath. No pressure. The small craft shot upward from a hidden facility in the New Mexico desert. It accelerated faster than any normal Earth ship, using experimental engines that Dr. Morris and his team had been developing in secret for years. 10,000 feet, 50,000, entering lower orbit, Kevin announced. Stealth systems active. Olivia looked out the small window. The curve of Earth spread below her, beautiful and blue. Above, the massive Zorlian flagship loomed like an angry storm cloud. Smaller ships moved around it in regular patterns. Patrol ships changing positions, Kevin said. Launch window opening in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Olivia pushed the throttle forward. The ship shot toward the alien vessel, moving through the brief gap in their patrol pattern. Her heart pounded as they approached the massive ship. It seemed to fill the entire sky now. Scan shows a maintenance hatch on the underside, Kevin said. Forwarding coordinates. Olivia adjusted course, bringing their ship toward a small opening barely visible on the huge alien vessel. As they got closer, she could see the intricate patterns on the ship's hull that looked like glowing blue veins. That's their power distribution network, Kevin explained. Very efficient design, but exposed. Interesting. Olivia's engineering mind was already analyzing weaknesses. The stealth ship reached the maintenance hatch and extended a docking tube. With a soft clunk, they connected to the alien vessel. No alarms detected, Kevin reported. They don't know we're here. Olivia put on her spacesuit. It wasn't much protection against alien weapons, but it would keep her alive in space if something went wrong. She tucked her wrench into a special holster on her leg. Time to go say hello, she said. The airlock cycled, and Olivia floated through the docking tube into the alien ship. The maintenance hatch opened surprisingly easily. Inside was a narrow corridor with dim blue lighting. I'm in, she whispered into her communicator. Any idea which way to their engine room? Based on intercepted communications and ship design analysis, you should head toward the center of the vessel, Kevin replied. Follow the power conduits. Olivia moved carefully through the narrow service corridors. They seemed designed for maintenance robots rather than living creatures. The walls were covered in pipes and cables that glowed with strange energy. These systems are amazing, she whispered, examining a junction box. Their power efficiency must be at least 10 times better than our best technology. As she continued deeper into the ship, the corridors widened. Soon she was in areas clearly meant for the aliens themselves. She had to be more careful now. She ducked into a small alcove as she heard something approaching. 2 Zorlians walked past, their crystalline skin catching the light. They were discussing something in their language, a series of musical clicks and whistles. They're talking about engine performance issues, Kevin translated through her earpiece. Something about power fluctuations in Sector 7. Olivia waited until they passed, then continued toward the center of the ship. She followed signs that Kevin translated for her. The alien writing looked like beautiful swirling patterns. Wait, Kevin suddenly said. I'm detecting a security sweep heading your way. 3 guards armed. Olivia looked around frantically. There was nowhere to hide in the corridor. Then she noticed a panel on the wall, a maintenance access point. Quickly, she pried it open with her wrench and squeezed inside, pulling the panel closed behind her. Through a small crack, she watched as 3 heavily armored Zorlians marched past. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. One of them stopped right beside her hiding spot. Olivia held her breath. The alien guard seemed to be looking directly at the panel. Had he noticed it was loose? After what seemed like forever, he moved on, continuing down the corridor with the others. That was close, she whispered once they were gone. Too close, Kevin agreed. We need to move faster. The engine room should be 2 levels down. Olivia crawled through the maintenance shaft. Until she found another exit panel, she emerged into a new corridor that hummed with energy. The walls here vibrated slightly and the air felt charged. We're getting close to their power center, she said. Following Kevin's directions, she made her way to a large door marked with warning symbols. Using her wrench, she managed to bypass the security panel, and the door slid open. Inside was a sight that took her breath away. The engine room was enormous, with a glowing sphere of energy suspended in the center. Around it, alien technicians worked at control panels. None of them were Zorlians. They appeared to be from other conquered species. "That's their quantum singularity drive," Kevin said. "It's like our experimental drives, but 1,000 times more powerful." Olivia studied the room, noting the positions of each worker and the camera-like devices on the walls. "How do I get to the main control panel without being seen?" "There's a maintenance crawl space that runs above the room," Kevin replied, highlighting it on her helmet display. "But you'll need to be careful. The energy levels in there could fry your suit systems." Using her wrench to open another access panel, Olivia pulled herself into a narrow space above the engine room. The metal here was hot, and her suit temperature, warning light began to flash. "The main control node should be directly below you," Kevin said. "If you can access it, you can introduce a cascading failure in their power distribution network. It won't destroy the ship, but it will disable their weapon systems." Olivia found another panel and carefully opened it, looking down into the engine room. She was directly above a main control console. The alien working there was tall and thin. "With 4 arms, now I just need a distraction," she whispered. As if on cue, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The aliens in the engine room began running around in panic. "What's happening?" Olivia asked. "I don't know," Kevin admitted. "But whatever it is, it's your chance." The alien at the control panel below her rushed away to deal with the emergency. Without hesitation, Olivia dropped down to the floor and slid under the console. Using her wrench, she opened an access panel and found a maze of alien technology inside. "Kevin, I need guidance here," she said urgently. "What am I looking at?" "It's their power regulation system," Kevin replied. "The blue crystal-like components are flow regulators. If you recalibrate them to an unstable frequency, it will create a feedback loop in their weapon systems." Working quickly, Olivia began adjusting the alien technology with her wrench. Behind her, she could hear the aliens still dealing with whatever emergency had triggered the alarms. "Almost done," she whispered. "Just need to... human." A voice boomed from behind her. Olivia turned to see a massive Zorlian warrior standing over her. He was bigger than the others she had seen, with armor that glowed with power. In his hand was a weapon pointed directly at her head. "Step away from the console," he commanded. Slowly, Olivia stood up, raising her hands, her wrench still clutched in one fist. The Zorlian warrior's eyes narrowed as he studied her. "I am Dreknar, elite guard of the Imperial Fleet," he said. "And you are my prisoner." Olivia stood facing the massive alien warrior, her mind racing. Dreknar towered over her, his crystalline armor reflecting the blue light of the engine room. 4 more guards rushed in behind him, all pointing weapons at her. "How did a human get this far into our ship?" Dreknar demanded. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. Olivia tightened her grip on her wrench. She knew she couldn't fight her way out of this situation. She needed to think. "I'm a mechanic," she said calmly. "Your ship has serious problems with its power system." Dreknar's eyes narrowed, the purple glow inside them intensifying. "You lie. You are a saboteur." "If I wanted to sabotage your ship, it would be floating in pieces by now," Olivia replied. "Look at your own system warnings. Your power grid is running at dangerous levels." "Don't listen to her, Commander," said one of the other guards. "Humans are known tricksters." Dreknar held up a hand for silence. He looked at the console behind Olivia. The displays were flashing with warning symbols. "Explain these warnings," he ordered. "Your primary power conduits are routing too much energy through secondary systems," Olivia said, pointing to a diagram on the screen. "The coolant pressure is building up because your flow regulators are misaligned." "Kevin," she whispered to her wrist computer. "Back me up here." Kevin's voice came through her earpiece, quiet enough that only she could hear. "She's right. Their systems are actually showing those warnings. It looks like the ship's automatic maintenance systems have been neglected." Dreknar studied the screens, then looked back at Olivia. "If you are truly a mechanic, fix this problem." He gestured with his weapon. "But know that if you attempt anything suspicious, I will end your life immediately." Olivia nodded. I'll need my tools. She held up her wrench. The alien commander hesitated, then nodded. Proceed. But my guards will watch your every move. Olivia turned to the console and began working. Her original plan had been to sabotage the ship's weapons, but now she had a different idea. As she examined the alien technology more closely, she realized it was even more advanced than Earth scientists had thought. Your quantum drive is amazing, she said as she worked. We've only managed to create tiny versions in our labs. Humans are primitive, Dreknar stated. Your species only recently discovered space travel. True, Olivia admitted as she carefully adjusted settings on the console. But we understand maintenance. Your flow regulators haven't been calibrated. In months, maybe years. The alien commander didn't respond, but she noticed him shift uncomfortably. The Zorlian Empire has conquered many worlds, Kevin whispered in her ear. But they rely on slave species for maintenance and repairs. Warriors like Dreknar consider such work beneath them. As Olivia worked, alarms throughout the ship suddenly stopped. The warning lights on the console changed from red to yellow. The pressure in the cooling system is dropping, said one of the alien technicians, sounding surprised. What did you do? Dreknar demanded. I adjusted the flow regulators to proper specifications, Olivia said. Your coolant was backing up because the input and output weren't synchronized. Basic maintenance issue. The alien commander studied her with new interest. How does a primitive human understand our technology? Machines are machines, Olivia shrugged. The principles are universal. You just have better parts than we do. A new alarm suddenly blared through the engine room. On a large screen, a different section of the ship began flashing red. Secondary power coupling failure in the weapons grid, announced a voice over the ship's communication system. Alert status elevated. Dreknar turned to his guards. Secure the human and take her to detention cell 7. I must report to Admiral Grakthor. Two guards grabbed Olivia by the arms. As they led her away, she noticed the looks of confusion on the faces of the alien technicians. They were examining her work on the console with clear amazement. The guards took her through long corridors lined with strange technology. Olivia memorized the path, noting key junctions and access panels. Finally, they reached a small room with a force field door. They pushed her inside and the field activated with a hum. The commander will deal with you later, one guard said before they both left. As soon as they were gone, Olivia whispered to her wrist computer. Kevin, are you still there? Yes, the AI replied. Communications are still working, though the signal is weak this deep in the ship. Did you see what I did to their system? You actually fixed their coolant problem, Kevin said, sounding confused. But I detected something else. You modified the power routing sequence. Olivia smiled. I redirected a small power surge to their weapons grid. It won't damage anything permanently, but it will keep their engineers busy for hours. Clever, Kevin said. But how does that help our mission? They think I'm helpful now, Olivia explained. And more importantly, I learned something critical about their ship. Their quantum containment system has a design flaw. The power fluctuations aren't just from poor maintenance, they're inherent to the system. She sat on the small bench in the cell thinking, if I can gain their trust enough to access the main engineering bay again, I might be able to modify their system to disable their weapons without destroying the ship. That's a long shot, Kevin warned, and time is running out. Earth's deadline is in less than 12 hours. I need to talk to their chief engineer or designer, Olivia said. Whoever created this system needs to know it's fundamentally flawed. Before Kevin could respond, footsteps approached her cell. The force field disappeared and Dreknar entered along with another Zorlian. This one was smaller with less muscular features and wearing robes instead of armor. This is the human, Dreknar said to his companion. The smaller alien stepped forward, studying Olivia with intense interest. I am Valthar, chief designer of the Imperial Fleet. His voice was softer than the warrior's, almost musical. You claim to understand our quantum drive technology? Olivia stood up straight. I understand enough to know it has a serious design flaw. Valthar's eyes flashed. Impossible. My designs are perfect. Perfect designs don't create power surges every time the ship changes course, Olivia replied calmly. Your containment field harmonics are out of sync with the quantum matrix. The alien designer seemed startled by her specific knowledge. How could you possibly know that? Because it's a common problem with quantum technology, Olivia said. We've seen it in our experimental drives too. The difference is when our small drives fail, they just stop working. When yours fails, this entire ship will turn into a miniature black hole. Valthar and Dreknar exchanged glances. Admiral Grakthor wishes to speak with the human, Valthar finally said. Bring her to the command center. As they led her through more corridors, Olivia saw the ship with new eyes. The Zorlians had incredible technology, but there were signs of strain everywhere. Flickering lights, humming conduits, repair panels left open. Your empire expanded too quickly, she said to Valthar as they walked. You conquered faster than you could properly maintain your technology. The alien designer didn't respond, but his silence told her she was right. They entered a massive room with a domed ceiling showing the stars outside. In the center stood Admiral Grakthor, the same alien who had delivered the ultimatum to Earth. He turned as they approached, his eyes locking onto Olivia. So, he said, his voice booming through the chamber. This is the human infiltrator. Olivia stood before Admiral Grakthor in the massive command center of the alien flagship. The room was filled with strange technology and alien officers working at various stations. Through the large viewing windows, she could see Earth in the distance looking small and vulnerable. You have caused quite a disruption on my ship, human, Admiral Grakthor said. His voice echoed around the chamber. First you infiltrate our vessel, then you repair our cooling systems, and now you claim our quantum drive has a fatal flaw. Olivia gripped her wrench tightly. They had allowed her to keep it, which she found interesting. Perhaps they didn't. See a simple tool as a threat. I'm just a mechanic doing what I do best, she replied. And your ship needs serious work. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. Our deadline for Earth's surrender is approaching. In a few hours, we will begin destroying your cities one by one. Yet here you are, concerned about our ship maintenance. I'm concerned about preventing a disaster, Olivia said. Your quantum drive is unstable. The containment field could collapse at any moment. Valthar stepped forward. Admiral, I believe we should listen to the human. She has demonstrated unusual knowledge of our systems. Our drives have functioned perfectly for centuries, Grakthor responded dismissively. Have they? Olivia asked. Or have you just been lucky? When was the last time a full diagnostic was run on the quantum matrix? The Admiral and Chief Designer exchanged glances. Olivia could tell she had hit a nerve. Kevin, she whispered to her wrist computer. Can you access any of their systems from here? Limited access, Kevin whispered back. But I'm detecting power fluctuations throughout the ship. They're getting worse. Admiral Grakthor turned to a large screen showing the ship's systems. Run a Level 1 diagnostic on the quantum drive, he ordered. The screen filled with alien symbols and diagrams. To Olivia's surprise, she found she could understand some of it based on her experience with Earth's experimental quantum technology. There, she said, pointing to a flashing section. Your containment field is losing coherence. The field harmonics are out of sync with the quantum matrix. Valthar studied the display, his expression growing concerned. She's right, Admiral. The readings are outside normal parameters. Can it be fixed? Grakthor demanded. Yes, Olivia said, but it will require a complete power down and recalibration of the drive. Impossible, the Admiral declared. That would leave us vulnerable for hours. If you don't fix it, Olivia warned, the drive will eventually fail catastrophically. When that happens, this ship and everything within 1,000 miles will be sucked into a microscopic black hole. The command center fell silent. Even the E-Wendiwi alien officers stopped working to listen. Why should I trust you? Admiral Grakthor asked, his voice quieter now. For all I know, this could be a trick to disable our ship. Olivia took a deep breath. This was her chance. Let me prove it to you. Allow me to make a small adjustment to the containment field. Not enough to shut down the drive, but enough to demonstrate the problem. The Admiral considered her request for a long moment. Very well, he finally said. But Dreknar and his guards will accompany you. If this is a trick, they will kill you instantly. Fair enough. Olivia nodded. Under heavy guard, she was escorted back to the engine room. The massive quantum drive pulsed at the center, its energy contained within a shimmering field. Alien technicians watched nervously as she approached the main control console. I'll need to access the field harmonic controls, she told Valthar, who had joined them. The alien designer hesitated, then input a series of commands. A new section of the console opened up, revealing complex controls. Kevin, Olivia whispered. What am I looking at? Based on Earth's experimental drives, Kevin replied quietly. Those should be the frequency modulators for the containment field. Olivia studied the controls carefully. This was a critical moment. If she made a mistake, she could cause the very disaster she was warning about. But this was also her opportunity to gain their trust and potentially save Earth. What I'm going to do, she explained to Valthar and the guards, is adjust the field harmonics by just 5%. It will create a visible fluctuation in the containment field, but not enough to cause failure. She carefully manipulated the controls, watching as the readings changed on the display. The shimmering field around the quantum drive began to pulse unevenly. Warning lights activated on several panels. Containment field stability dropping to 87%, announced an automated voice in the alien language, which Kevin translated for her. Now watch, Olivia said. She made another small adjustment and the field stabilized again. The warning lights turned off. Valthar's eyes widened. The harmonics were indeed misaligned, he admitted. How did you know? Like I said before, machines are machines, Olivia replied. The principles are universal. Your drive is just bigger and more powerful than anything we've built, but it follows the same laws of physics. The alien designer studied her with new respect. To make a full repair, we would need to shut down the drive completely? Yes, Olivia nodded, and recalibrate the entire containment system. Valthar turned to Dreknar. Inform the Admiral that the human's assessment appears correct. The warrior nodded and spoke into a communication device on his armor. After a moment, he looked up. The Admiral requests everyone's presence in the strategic command room, immediately. They were led to a smaller room adjacent to the main command center. Admiral Grakthor stood before a large table displaying a holographic map of Earth. Markers indicated major cities and military installations. Your demonstration was convincing, the Admiral said to Olivia. Our engineers confirm the quantum drive requires immediate maintenance. Then you'll postpone your attack on Earth? Olivia asked hopefully. No, Grakthor replied firmly. The deadline stands. However, I'm willing to offer a compromise. He gestured to the holographic display. Instead of destroying your cities one by one, we will give your planet one more chance to surrender. During this time, you will assist Valthar in repairing our drive. Olivia frowned. And if Earth still refuses? Then we will destroy your largest city as a demonstration, the Admiral said coldly. And continue until your leaders see reason. Olivia's mind raced. She needed more time. The repairs will take at least 12 hours, she said. Maybe more. You have 6, Grakthor stated. And to ensure your cooperation, we will target your hometown of Detroit first if repairs are not completed successfully. Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. How did they know where she was from? We've analyzed your communication device, Valthar explained, as if reading her thoughts. Your personnel file was easily accessible. Fine, Olivia agreed. 6 hours. But I'll need full access to your engineering systems and databases. The Admiral nodded to Valthar. Grant her the access she needs, but watch her carefully. As they left the strategic room, Dreknar fell into step beside Olivia. You are either very brave or very foolish, he said quietly. Maybe a little of both, Olivia replied. She glanced at the massive warrior. Can I ask you something? Why does the Empire want Earth so badly? We're not that special. Dreknar was silent for a moment. Earth sits at a strategic location. Control of your solar system gives us access to 3 major space lanes. So it's just about location? Olivia asked. The Empire expands. That is its nature, the warrior replied. There was something in his tone that Olivia couldn't quite identify. Resignation? Doubt? They reached the main engineering bay where Valthar was already preparing for the drive shutdown. We begin power reduction in 10 minutes, he announced. Olivia took a deep breath. She now had access to the heart of the alien flagship. This was her chance to save Earth, if she could just figure out how. In the heart of the alien flagship, Olivia worked furiously. The massive quantum drive was now powered down to 20%, just enough to maintain basic ship functions. Around her, alien technicians from various conquered species moved quickly, following her instructions with a mix of confusion and respect. Hand me that flux calibrator, she said to a small green alien with 4 arms. He quickly passed her a tool that looked like a glowing crystal rod. Kevin, how are we doing on time? She whispered to her wrist computer. 4 hours and 17 minutes remaining, Kevin replied quietly. Earth's deadline is approaching rapidly. Valthar hovered nearby, watching her every move. The alien designer had been surprised by her knowledge of quantum physics and her ability to work with their technology. Your understanding of our systems is remarkable for a human, he said. Olivia didn't look up from her work. Like I said, machines are machines. She carefully adjusted a series of crystal components inside the drive's control matrix. Your quantum containment field was out of alignment because your power distribution system creates harmonic feedback, an error in the original design, Valthar admitted reluctantly, one I failed to anticipate. It happens, Olivia said. No design is perfect the first time. She slid out from under the control panel and stood up. The field modulators are recalibrated. Now we need to check the coolant system before we power up again. As they moved to another section of the engine room, Olivia's mind was racing. She had successfully gained their trust, but she still needed to find a way to disable their weapons without destroying the ship. And time was running out. Kevin, she whispered, when Valthar stepped away to consult with another technician. I need options. I've been analyzing their weapons systems, Kevin responded. They're linked directly to the main power grid. If you could create a specific type of power surge during restart, it might overload their targeting systems without affecting life support or engines. Would they detect it? Not immediately. The surge would look like a normal part of the restart process. Olivia nodded slightly. It was risky, but it might be their only chance. Dreknar approached, his massive form towering over her. Admiral Grakthor demands a progress report, he said. We're almost ready for system restart, Olivia replied. The containment field has been recalibrated and we're checking the coolant systems now. The warrior studied her for a moment. The Admiral is growing impatient. Your planet's leaders still refuse to surrender. Olivia's heart sank. They're making a mistake. Your weapons could destroy our cities in seconds. Yes, Dreknar agreed. But something in his tone caught Olivia's attention. You don't sound happy about that, she observed. The warrior was silent for a moment. I have conquered 17 worlds for the Empire, he finally said. It brings little satisfaction anymore. Before Olivia could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the engine room. What's happening? She asked. We're under attack, Dreknar replied, checking a display on his armor. Earth vessels approaching. Olivia was shocked. Earth didn't have ships capable of attacking an alien flagship. That's impossible. Valthar rushed over. We need to restore power immediately. Our defense systems are at minimal capacity. The drive isn't ready, Olivia warned. If we rush the restart, the containment field could collapse. We have no choice, the alien designer insisted. Begin restart sequence now. This was it, Olivia's moment of decision. If she helped them restart safely, the aliens would destroy Earth's attacking ships and then likely continue with their invasion plan. But if she sabotaged the restart, she might disable their weapons but could potentially destroy the entire flagship in the process. Kevin, she whispered urgently. What are these Earth ships? Who sent them? Unknown, Kevin replied. But I'm detecting unusual energy signatures. They don't match any known Earth technology. Something strange was happening. Olivia made her decision. I'll begin the restart, she told Valthar. But we need to do it carefully or we'll all be dead. The alien designer nodded and began barking orders to the technicians. Olivia moved to the main control console and began the restart sequence. As her fingers danced over the alien controls, she subtly modified several power routing protocols. Kevin, on my mark, send that power surge we discussed, she whispered. Ready, the AI responded. The quantum drive began humming as power flowed. Back into it, the containment field stabilized around the swirling energy at its core. Power at 40% and rising, reported one of the technicians. Weapon systems coming online, said another. Now, Kevin, Olivia said quietly. Through her wrist computer, Kevin sent a coded signal into the ship's systems. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, just as power reached 60%, a surge raced through specific circuits. Warning lights flashed on a nearby console. Targeting systems experiencing calibration errors, announced an automated voice. Valthar rushed to check the readings. What's happening? Power fluctuation in the targeting grid, Olivia explained, looking concerned. A side effect of the restart. I can fix it. But before she could move, Admiral Grakthor's voice boomed over the communication system. All personnel to battle stations. Unknown vessels approaching. On a large display screen in the engine room, they could see several small ships moving toward the flagship. They didn't look like Earth vessels. Their design was sleek and clearly advanced. Those aren't Earth ships, Valthar said, confused. Dreknar studied the screen. No, they're resistance vessels. Resistance? Olivia asked. The warrior turned to her. Not all species accept the Empire's rule willingly. Some fight back. A new voice suddenly came through the ship's communication system, not speaking the alien language, but clear English. Zorlian vessel, this is Commander Zara of the Free Systems Alliance. We detected your weapons targeting Earth. This planet is now under our protection. The engine room erupted in chaos. Admiral Grakthor's voice ordered all weapons to fire, but nothing happened. Weapons are not responding, Valthar reported frantically. The targeting systems are completely offline. Olivia tried to hide her smile. Her sabotage had worked perfectly. Human, Dreknar said quietly beside her. Did you do this? She met his gaze steadily. I did what I had to do to protect my world. To her surprise, the warrior nodded slightly. Perhaps the Empire has grown too confident in its power. On the display screen, more ships appeared, dozens of them, from different alien designs. The Free Systems Alliance, whoever they were, had brought a fleet. Admiral Grakthor himself stormed into the engine room, his face twisted with rage. Fix the weapons now, he demanded. Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered as the Alliance vessels fired warning shots across its bow. Admiral, Commander Zara's voice came again. Your weapons are disabled and you are outnumbered. The Empire's expansion ends here. Earth will not be conquered today. The Admiral looked around the engine room, his eyes finally settling on Olivia with her wrench still in hand. One human, he said in disbelief. One human with a simple tool managed to disable the most powerful warship in the Empire. Olivia shrugged. Sometimes the most complicated problems have simple solutions. You just need the right tool and the knowledge to use it. 2 days later, Olivia stood in the White House Rose Garden beside President Powell. Above them, ships from the Free Systems Alliance hovered peacefully. The Zorlian flagship had retreated from Earth, escorted by Alliance vessels. Today marks a new chapter for humanity, the President announced to the gathered press. Thanks to the bravery of one extraordinary mechanic and our new allies, Earth has not only survived but gained membership in the Free Systems Alliance. Olivia clutched her trusty wrench, still hardly believing everything that had happened. She had gone from a maintenance engineer on Mars to the hero who saved Earth. Commander Zara, a tall humanoid alien with silver skin, approached her. "The Alliance has been watching Earth for some time," she explained. "When the Empire arrived, we all knew we had to act, but we needed time to gather our forces. And I gave you that time," Olivia said, understanding now. "Indeed. Your ingenuity bought us the hours we needed." Zara smiled. "The Alliance could use more engineers like you. Someone who can solve problems with a simple wrench rather than powerful weapons." Olivia looked at her wrench, then up at the stars now filled with possibilities rather than threats. "I'll need a bigger toolbox," she said with a smile.